The U.S. has been downgraded and stocks sold off. Hey, everybody, you're watching Bull Boom Bear Bust. My name is JJ. Today is August 2nd. It is 2023. Back with another dose of economic reality. Let's talk about this downgrade. Now, this was in the news earlier. I didn't talk about it in an earlier video. I'll explain why. Basically, I think these credit ratings are pretty much a scam. We've been rated AAA, the United States as a country. We've been rated AAA, the best that you could be. But yet we're the world's largest debtor nation. We have exploding deficits. We have poverty exploding, inflation exploding. I mean, what is good about this? I mean, yes, it looks good. If you can have an endless credit card, you personally have an endless credit card with no credit limit, you're going to look pretty rich. You're probably going to buy a lot of cool looking stuff. And people will look at you and say, wow, you're doing really well, not knowing that you have so much debt and how much debt you had to accumulate in order to look so, or in order to appear looking so good or so wealthy. That's the United States. So Fitch downgraded us. First of all, the credit reporting agency, let me give you a little background on that here. Fitch is one of the three major credit rating agencies, along with S&P and Moody's, that evaluate a company or a country's ability to pay its debts. The agency uses a scale to rate a debtor's risk of making full, timely payments. Well, we just had to get rid of the debt ceiling completely, eliminated until the end of 2024. So is that a sign of strength, or is that a sign of desperation? I mean, please let me know what you think about this down below. But I've always said the world's largest debtor nation is talked about as being the world's strongest economy. Of course, the economy is going to look strong when you can just create money, hand it out, and then people spend that money on mostly imported goods from countries with very cheap labor. And somehow that makes the GDP go up, and that makes the economy appear strong, and it's economic strength, really. But it all goes back to the fake fiat system of money, where we can just create endless amounts of money out of thin air, create trillions of dollars with the click of a mouse, ever since we came off the gold standard in 1971. And it was no coincidence that we saw inflation start to explode after 1971. In fact, the dollar has lost about at least 85% of its purchasing power. I think it's closer to 97%, but there's been some reports saying that it's lost 85% of its purchasing power. Fitch rating downgrades the U.S. Stocks sold off. We had and this was as of Wednesday, August 2nd. Some of you may be watching this on Thursday. But we did have kind of a nice stock sell-off. We had the Dow Jones down by 348 points. That was almost a 1% drop. So what's going to happen going forward? Is this going to continue to affect the markets, or is this a nothing burger? Well, in my opinion, it's always been a nothing burger, but investors are reacting to this. So investors that sold their stocks off today, they really didn't know that the U.S. should not have been rated AAA. Was it really a surprise? So now all of a sudden we're AA instead of AAA, and now we're going to press the sell button because we're panicking. Oh no, the USA is only AA. We're not AAA anymore. Do you really think that's what investors were spooked about? It just blows my mind. The world's largest debtor nation. Anyways, you guys know the story behind that. Let's get on to some other news here. Let's talk about what Bank of America said today. There may not be a recession, according to Bank of America. Maybe the most anticipated recession will not happen after all. Stronger than expected economic data has Bank of America revoking its call for a recession at the end of the interest rate hike cycle. So my question is, what strong economic data are they looking at? Are they looking at the fake numbers, the manipulated numbers, the unemployment number, the GDP, right? All these things that really don't add up when you dissect them a little bit. I think Bank of America is smarter than that. I think there's a lot of reasons why Bank of America would come out, B of A would come out and say that right now. Also, the U.S. Treasury boosted the size of its quarterly bond sales for the first time in 2.5 years because of an exploding budget deficit. And yet that's supposed to be a sign of economic strength. Folks, if you can't see this this thing falling apart at the seams, we on every episode here, we dig behind the scenes, or we read between the lines, and we don't just look at the fake numbers. We tell you how the numbers are fake, how they're manipulated. We know the unemployment number is completely phony. Being anything below 10% is completely phony, and they're telling us it's in the mid 3% range still. When you look at almost 100 million people out of the U.S. labor force, so this is a big, it's one of the biggest scams of all time. But it just goes on and on; it doesn't end. All right, but let's get on to some other news here, and a bunch of news of layoffs coming out today. It just doesn't stop. We have Salesforce, more reductions after a previous big layoff back earlier this year. Qualcomm stung by sluggish smartphone sales, plans layoffs. Amazon Fresh layoffs point to company's grocery store struggles. If you can't sell groceries in this environment, Indianapolis Trucking Company reaches out to Yellow Corp employees following layoffs. So we heard about the big layoff announcement or bankruptcy announcement from Yellow Trucking Company, and now it looks like some of these workers will find work somewhere else. And I hope this other company is not loaded up with debt like Yellow Trucking Company was, and hopefully they can stay around so these people can remain employed. Now let's transition a little bit here, and this has to do with the economy because of real estate costs and housing costs. There's a lot of other aspects to homelessness, but a big part of it's the economy and these bubble prices in both rents and homes. Homelessness. Did you know in some areas it's illegal to feed a homeless person, to give a homeless person food? Texas man ticketed for feeding the homeless outside of a Houston library is found not guilty by a jury. This man was actually ticketed and had to go to court for feeding a homeless person. This was reported out of many news outlets, including AP. The first trial to be held after dozens of tickets were issued against volunteers for the group Food Not Bombs. The name of the group is called Food Not Bombs. Pretty interesting name of the group there. Friday's verdict in the sprawling Texas city is the latest flashpoint in the debate in many American cities whether feeding the homeless is an act of charity or a crime. This is completely insane. We even have to talk about this. That raises health and safety concerns among people who live and work nearby. So the reason it's illegal is because they're saying that this food may not be safe, and that these homeless people need to go to food banks where things are official. They have an official license to give out food. Therefore, it's safer. The food has been stored in the proper refrigeration, etc., etc., etc. So where do we draw the line on giving somebody food? So if we're hanging out, you and I, me and you, we're having lunch together, and I want to give you a bite of my sandwich. Should I get a ticket for that? What if it's a sandwich I made myself? What if it wasn't from Burger King or McDonald's? Oh, better arrest me because this food didn't go through the proper studies. Hasn't been properly refrigerated. Oh, you better give me a ticket. Where do you draw the line when it comes to giving somebody some food? Right? This is crazy. But that's what the United States has become. The United States has become a red tape nightmare where you have to have a license just to fish. You have to have a license, of course, to do so many things. You have to pay money just to do basic things that everybody could do just 50 or 60 years ago. All right, let's wrap it up with this right here. We've got the 10-year bond yield as I'm reporting this up above 4% once again. What is that going to mean? Rising mortgage rates. Yes, mortgage rates that have already doubled are going to go up even more. So anyone waiting for the housing market to take off again, I think you're going to be waiting a long time because this is a double whammy combined with the rate hikes. We're going to see anything that's based on borrowing money. More price weakness is going to enter that market. Housing, automobiles, even credit card debt is beginning to become unsustainable. And pretty soon it's going to lead to some big, big problems. What kind of reaction will there be? Will they put a cancellation on all these payments? But I've got some news to report here that, well, I shouldn't say news. I've got a feeling. That you're going to be shocked, and probably even I'll be shocked at what's going to bring this market down, this economy down. And it's something that's going to happen, I think, suddenly. But I have to leave it at that. So it's going to be, a big black swan, what I see coming. And there's only so much I can say, here in this environment, because of all the rules and stuff like that. but I see a big surprise situation popping up, and it's going to bring these markets down very, very rapidly. So I'd really like to hear from you down in comments on this one today. What do you think about the Fitch downgrade from AAA to AA? This actually happened one time before, and there was a lot of pushback. And I think, if I remember correctly, they went back and revised it. And by the way, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen came out and says she strongly disagrees with that decision. Of course, she's going to disagree. But this actually happened back in 2011. Standard & Poor's downgraded U.S. debt for the first time in history. That downgrade happened on a Friday afternoon, so investors had a weekend to think about their next move. It didn't help. On the first day of trading after that, the S&P plummeted by 6.5%. So we saw the announcement, not on a Friday this time, of course. Markets reacted. So what's going to happen Thursday and Friday? Please let me know. Is this the rug pull for the markets? I don't think so. I think it's a nothing burger because the whole AAA rating is nonsense in the first place. That's my thoughts on it. Please let me know what you think. And we'll keep on top of the news here for you. Everybody keep stacking. Big love. Bye for now. Peace.